Hi there, welcome to my ICT Hub where we make ICT concepts easier. This is John, your ICT tutor. Okay, today we are looking at data manipulation, and we'll be working with May June 2024 paper 2-1 IGCSE ICT paper. Alright, you ready? Let's get in. Alright, data manipulation has to do with database, and this is the question for May June, not February March. This is for May June 2024. Okay, let's take a look at that. Here, this May June 2024, paper 2-1. Okay, so let's start out quickly. Yes, so database. Task 3 is database. I've produced the video on document production. If you have not watched that, please you could go back to watch the video on document production where I solved the document production aspects of this paper. Here, let's start. It says you're now going to produce a report. Like I once taught in one of my videos, that the final result, the output of the database data manipulation is to produce a report, which is the hard copy. So they're going to be a report or a label. But here it says we're going to produce a report. All right, let's take a look at what we have to do. So data are to be imported in the format of day, month, year. Format of day, month, year. So we're going to be tested on tables, likely on your tables, your queries, your forms, and also on producing of reports. Now it says use database software to import the file j21child.csv as a new table. Okay, so I'm going to make use of Access 2021, version 2021. Let's start a new table. We just call that May June 24, paper 2-1. Okay, all right, let's import text file. Let's browse to where the file is located. Desktop 24. Okay, so now we want to import child. Okay, click on the next. Then make sure you check this box for the first row to be displayed as the title for the fields. Now let's take a look at the data. Just before we leave there, remember the statement that says date should be imported as the date DMY, date month year format. So let's quickly go to advanced. Then we want to check here the date format. You can see it's already in the DMY, that's the date month year formats. If it is not, then you have to change it to the DMY to follow the instruction of the question. Click on OK. Then let's check our data types. So here we are looking at, we have text for the first 4, date and time for the next 2. So we have text, short text, yes. Here we have date and time, which is in order. Then we have the Boolean logical, as a yes or no, and text all through here. So we want to change this to the yes or no. Then this is text. Here we have text. And we have, okay, take note, this should be short text, not long integer. So we want to choose the short text there. Okay, so once we're done with that, click on next. For the primary key, it says set child ID as the primary key. So I want to select this and pick child ID as a primary key. Click on next, and then we finish importing of that table. But furthermore, we need to go, here's the table. Remember, this says it should be displayed as yes or no. This says date, month, year. The particular format is not specified. So we want to go to our design view. Okay, sorry, let me change the view of this. Okay, so here, let's go to our design view. All right, now we want to change the format for the yes or no, so it will be displayed as yes or no from checkboxes. So you go to your lookup, you want to click on this checkbox and change it to combo box. Right, yes, you save that. Then for the date and time, I kind of like the formats. That's the short date format, so let's change that to the short date. I want to zoom in a bit closer so you can see what I'm doing. That's the medium date, sorry. Yes, I prefer the medium dates. The same with this, let's change the format to the medium dates. Apologies to those who Let's zoom out. Okay, save it, and let's take a look at it in the datasheet view. Alright, so we have a medium date. Yes, we have the yes or no displayed. So that is done. Let's go back to the question. So it's place in your evidence document screenshots showing the field names, the data types, and the primary key. Okay, very important that your screenshot must show the three. So this is the field names, the data types, and the primary key. So let's take a slide 2 and let's create a screenshot there. Right, now let's put that in our evidence document. Okay, that is done, showing data field names, the data types, and the primary key. Alright, so we can go back. The next thing the question says, import the file j2421bookings.csv as a new table in your database. Okay, so let's import that file. Let's initiate the import. I go to external data, click here from file. I want a text file. And browse to bookings. Okay, there we have it. Okay, click next here. Pick this. Ensure you don't forget to always pick this to select that particular option for the field names. Here we have the data types, so let's check out the data types. Once again, we have date and time, but we've changed the settings to DMY, but we could still confirm that. Now we have text, date and time. This format will be done when we get to the design view, and text. So we have the short text, short text, short text. We have your date and time, and lastly we have short text, which aligns with what we want. So let's just confirm the DMY. Yes, it's still DMY, so we go on with that. Right, for the primary key, it says use the field names and data types and create a primary key field called ID. I almost skipped that. So here what we want to do is we leave this. You can notice that it's already created a primary key called ID. So we set that as a primary key, leave it that way, and we move on. Alright, so let's finish. Once we are done with that, we want to check. Right, now let's go to the design view. In the design view, we want to change, take note, this data types to hour and minutes. So permit me to zoom in so you can see it clearly. Okay, so at the date and time, we want to change the format to, that's it, the short dates. Can you see it? Minutes. We do the same for this, which is the short time, please, not the short dates, beg your pardon, short time. Alright, so once that is done, we want to save it, and you want to return back to the datasheet view while I zoom out back. And let's take a look at it. Alright, so we have our time just the way we want it. Okay, let's continue the question. Place in your evidence document a screenshot showing the field names, data types, and primary key. Once again, so we go to design view. Want to take a screenshot showing the field name, data types, and primary key. Show your screenshots, displays the three. Okay, we go to the evidence document and just check the question if it's a separate question. Okay, it's still on the same question 11, so this evidence document is on the same question, same evidence. Okay, so let's move on. Now question 12 says create a one-to-many relationship between child ID field in the child and bookings table. So we are creating a child ID field, one-to-many relationship from the child ID field in child's table with the child ID field in the bookings table. So let's get that done. Change this back to the datasheet view. You go to your database tools, click on relationships. You can add the tables here, double click it from there. Double click for it to be more visible. Okay, here we have the child ID in the, okay, there's the bookings table. Here we have in the child ID from the child table, and we are going to the child ID in the bookings table. Can you see it? All right, let me zoom in a little more for us to see. Okay, here we can see. So we are going to click and drag from the child's table and drop it on the bookings table. So we have child ID, going to child ID from the table child to the bookings table, one to many, and then we create that. Okay. After doing that, place in your evidence document a screenshot showing the one-to-many relationship between the table. Now take note, it must show the one-to-many relationship. This screenshot here does not show. It shows it's a relationship, but we don't know what type of relationship. So it's important you open that dialog. So we open this dialog, click on the line. Okay, good. And make sure this, I advise you screenshot the two together, that is this dialog and the tables. This is even more important than this. So this, you can see it is stated here, one-to-many relationship. So let's get a sniping tool to ensure that you screenshot this lower dialog along with this if you must. Else you just stay with this little dialog box below here. Okay, so we come to the next evidence document. Alright, so that is done. So let's move back. Okay, we'll click on OK to continue with that. Let's see the question. Right, now we want to create a report. So using fields from the child and bookings table, produce a tabular report. It's a whole question on its own. Normally, to answer this question, you start with a query. Here we have a new field. It says sort records, select the records where day is Monday, the session is Monday, or Sunshine Club, morning or Sunshine Club. Here we have contains a new field called total time, which is calculated at runtime. Total time is equals to end time minus the start time multiplied by 24. So we have shows only the fields with child ID, first name, last name. It will be this session. We have the start time, end time, total time, which is the new field we are creating here, and food allergy in this order. Now with data and labels displayed in full, do not group the data. All right, I like to do all this parts first in the, what's it called, in the query. So let's create a query because we need a new field to do that. So let's go to back to access. Let's create. Now we go to our query wizard. Sorry, not the query wizard. We go to the query design. Okay, here we don't need a property sheet for now. You want to pick the two tables. All right, let's expand it so it's fully visible. Okay, and once that is done, the next thing is to let's pick the required fields. It says shows only the fields child ID, first name, and last name. So we want to pick child ID. I want to pick from here, though we have two of it. They are the same, so I pick from here child ID, first name, and last name. Let's take a look at that. Is it okay? First name before the last name. So we have first name and last name. Okay, pick the first name. We pick on the last name. All right. Then let's pick the DOB, date of birth, the day, session, and start time. Date of birth, double click. The day should be here, double click. The session, yes, session and start time. So the session, then we have the start time. Let's take a look. Then we have end time. We have the end time. Okay, then the new field total time and food allergy. So let's pick food allergy. Where do we have the food allergy here? We're going to insert, when we are creating the report, we will do the rearrangement. Okay, so now lastly we have the new field we want to create. So let's right click on that part. You want to click on build. All right, let me zoom in on this interface so you can see better what I want to do as we create the new field. Okay, now to create a new field, we want to open our tables. Let's look for our tables there. We have the tables. Now it says we are going to be, let's check the question briefly, which says the total time is equals to end time minus start time times 24. So let's locate the end time. It's on the child table. We have the end time. Is it here? Okay, I think it's here. Okay, here we have the end time. Use the arithmetic operator, minus for subtraction, start time. Then you want to close it in a bracket. So I want to close this parenthesis, go to the beginning, and close another parenthesis there. Then multiplied as the asterisk sign by 24. Alright, so once that is done, that's the expression for it. We click on OK, and let's run it to be sure that it's going to give us what we want. Alright, if we run it, okay, yes, so we have the values here. Remember, in the arrangement of this, the total time comes before the food allergy. So let's see how we can rearrange that. We go back to our design view. And also, we need to change the total time. So let's go closer to see that. This EXP1, we want to change that field name to total time. So we have total underscore time with the colon. Ensure the colon is not taken out. When you're done with that, then you want to pick this. Sorry. Oh no, I actually want to pick it and relocate it back to this part. So good. Yes, so food allergy, this and the food allergy. All right. Now let's take note. Was it told to be displayed in any special format? No. Display as, okay, yes, display as a numeric value to 1 decimal place. So it's important we use our property sheet here. So we'll go to our property sheet for the formats. We want to change that to fixed. So you have your fixed here. Sorry, please let me zoom in. I've seen that very perfectly. Yes, okay, I was sure that was right. Fixed, then we want decimal place. Okay, while we have fixed there, let's run it first, then we'll come back to check decimal place. Okay, it's fixed. Now let's go back. Decimal place should have returned. Okay, now we have a decimal place to 1 decimal place. Okay, then we can run it again. Yes, so now once that is done, before we leave, remember we also have to carry out the sort. Now it says select the records where day is Monday for, that's day is Monday. And because we don't have possibly like it's not, we are not looking for something that looks like a text. It's actually a field name, complete field name. Day is Monday, so you can just drop it there under the criteria section there. It's Monday. Then on the other part says season is morning or sunshine club. Once again, it's not session rather, so you just drop it there, morning or sunshine club, and access will actually place the quotation marks around it. So let's run there and take a look at it. We have 43 records. So we have a morning, sunshine club, and we have only Monday, and they are arranged in the pattern we want it to be. So let's save this query. Save that query 1. Yep. And then we want to create the report. So we go to create, and let's pick our report wizard. And we want all the fields from the reports. That's the table we selected. Now we don't want it to be grouped. This selection shows that it is going to be grouped by these fields. So you select the second one here. It's not grouped, like the question says, do not group. Click next. Still we don't want it to be grouped. Here I don't advise that you use your sort here. I'm going to show you where you can use the sort easily. Then we click on this, the orientation of the paper. Let's see what it says. Has a page orientation of landscape. So we want to select landscape. Then we want to finish this. Okay, let's close this. Now we want to go to our group and sort. This is where we carry out the sort. We've done this, we've done this, we've done this. Yes, so the sort is what we have to do now. Descending order of session and ascending order of date of birth. So you want to add a sort here. Ascending order of session, so you go to the session, you pick the session. Now, the second one is usually the descending order if you're not sure. The first is the ascending order. Then we also add for date of birth. We want it in ascending order. So it's going to be the first one, which is usually the first, the default selected. It's usually ascending. So once you are done with that too, then you can close your group and sort. The next. All right, we're done with that. Ascending order, orientation, we're done. Fit on a single page width. So let's check. Well, that should be on it's actually on a single page width. We are going to rearrange it when we see in the layout. Now let's finish up before we start the arrangement. Includes only the title, this, displayed in a large font size, fully visible at the center, aligned to the top of the page. Now it's going to be at the middle. Here it's just at the side. So I want to paste there. Then I want to enlarge the size of this such that I can actually align it to the center of the page. I like doing this more in the layout view. Go to the layout view. All right, this is easier. You just hold down your shift and increase the size of that. Make sure it doesn't go beyond the page. Then you can go to your home and align it to the center. Okay, so that way it's placed at the center. Let's see before we come back to arrange. Has your name, center number, candidate number in the footer of the page of the report so that it appears in the same position on every page. So we're going back to our design view. Now here in the footer, we don't need this page and we don't need this number. You want to insert a label with your name. The side where it's placed is not specified, so you can use any side. I'm gonna go with JUN, sorry. Okay. And all right, center number and candidate number well typed in there. Then let's check. I think that's about it. So now let's go back and ensure that everything is fully visible. So from the layout view, we can see we have hashtags here, we have hashtags here. All right, so let's begin the rearrangement. Use your shift and your arrow key to resize, while the arrow key alone can be used to move this. I like using this. It kind of works faster for me. If it's the mouse that works faster for you, dragging it with the mouse, please make do with whichever one that works faster for you. And always ensure you check through the records to be sure nothing is trimmed off. Everything is fully visible. I want to move these two together. So I hold down my shift key, select the two, and I can move them together. Then I can select just this lower one, take a look at which one has the longest, then I can resize it. Ensure nothing is cut off. Okay, good. Then we move to the next one, which is the date of birth. Large, I can move that down. While I pick the data, move it down, then I expand it to be fully visible. Okay, make sure it doesn't overlap. Now we come to the day, move it again, then hold down your shift key to resize it. Pick the day, use down the arrow keys. It's all Monday, so just pick the size that way. Yes, then I move the session this way. Pick this now, bring it in. Sunshine Club and morning. Sunshine Club is obviously longer than morning. Okay, so you can see that. Okay, I'm almost done. Pick these two, move them out together. Then use my shift key and expand it so it can be visible. Total time. Okay, still use my shift key. Okay, that is visible. Right. Then you come down here again, pick this two, move it in, hold down the shift key and expand that. Okay, I want to move this two also, hold down the shift key, select the two, bring them in, expand it. Okay, total time. Yes, and lastly, I want to move this in, and I could expand it a little. Okay, food allergy. Now they are all fully visible. Let's take a look at the print preview. Go to your print preview. Okay, here we are. Fourth page. Let's check how many pages. And on the second page, yes, you have your name, your details, and that's about it for this one. Then you can print it into PDF, or if you have a printer directly connected, you can print it out on a printer. Okay, let's close this and let's go back to the question. Save and print your report. And the next question says, you're now going to create a data entry form. Okay, that's another aspect about database. That's another object. We've now worked on the form. So this form, the form will contain radio buttons, okay, for the user to select one option. Data from the selected option must be stored in a new field that you would create in the child's table. All right, let's move on. Question 14 says, insert a new field in the child's table named ailments ID. Okay. Now, which will be used to store data from the radio buttons. Set the most appropriate data type. Now, it's an ID. Take note, an ID, when identification, when we looked at the ID we created was usually in numbers. So this situation once it says ailment ID, and because we are going to be using radio buttons, which is a group 1, it is usually represented with numbers. That's why it says set the most appropriate data type. Ailment ID, which will be used to store data from that radio button. So let's start out. First, let's go to the child's table to create this. Go to the child's table. This is usually creating a new field is done in the data sheet. If you try to do it in the design view, you're going to get an error message which says you can't edit anything, you can't do any editing. So you don't edit in the data sheet view. Sorry, in the design view, you come to the data sheet view, you click on this now. It's going to ask what format. Now we want to use numbers because it's ID. So we are picking a number. Yes. Okay, when it's giving such type of errors, sorry, time, it's not allowing me to edit. Let's take a look at this. It says that error message says it's being used. Take a look at it. It says you can't modify because table this it's already used by another person or process. So let's just be sure we are all clear. So we're gonna save, close access completely. Yes, we save. And let's open access again. Okay, that way we'll be sure we untie every connection we have. Enable content. Okay, now let's try it again. Yes, and you can see, so now that is as enabled. So if you have such situations, just close the whole access program and open it again, and it's going to allow you to be able to do that. So now we have created a new field in the child's table. Like I said, you can't do it in the design view, you do it rather in the datasheet view. Now let's continue back to our question. And the question says, place in your evidence document screenshots showing the field name and the data type you used in the child's table. Okay, now that you've created it, if you go back to your design view, it's going to be visible now. So showing the field name and data type. So let's do a screenshot of that. Sniping tool. Okay, so let's do a screenshot. Yes, so the field name and the data type is visible. Let's go to evidence documents and we drop that there. Okay, let me bring down this. Okay, all right, so let's go back to our question. Now save and close the table, save and close this table. So let's just go back there, back to datasheet view, let's save it and let's close the table. All right, because we just came back from there, everything will be closed, but that particular child's table is closed. Now let's continue the question. So create a columnar data entry form using selected fields from the child's table. That's okay. Now the fields are going to be includes only the fields last name, first name, child ID, gender, DOB, reg date, and food allergy. All right, let's create that form. We want to go to create another object. It's going to be using the form. Let's have a form under the form object. Here we have form wizard. Okay, I want to create. It's going to be using the child's table. Okay, please let's zoom in so we can see the fields we want to select. Now the fields says use fields, includes fields last name, first name, child ID, gender. So we have last name, the first name, child ID, gender, the DOB, direct date, and the food allergy. Let's confirm that. Okay, registration date and the food allergy. Now displays one record at a time. All right, we move on, column now. And then we finish this form. Okay, here we have the form all displayed. I like to always make them almost of the same size, so we are not given anything. We are not told to edit, but let's just at least have it of the same width. I hold down my shift key, select this. Oh my, I guess I am. Right, now I've done that. Let's just click and yes, okay, looks fair. Yes, having one record displayed at a time. That's what it says. So I could have it that way. Yes, that's my form. Now the next question says, place in your evidence document a screenshot showing your form with a record from the database displayed. So here is the form. I want to change back to the form view and then do a screenshot. Let's take my snipe tool. Okay, I want to do a screenshot showing a record from the view, and that's step 15. Okay, let's continue the question. It's very interesting. Here now it says in the form created in step 15, create 5 grouped radio buttons. Yes, like instructed earlier. The user must be able to select one of the following options. Okay, so we have 5 options and we want to create radio buttons. Now after this option has asthma, diabetics, eczema, epilepsy, none. The option selected must be stored and displayed in the, okay, that's the field we just created, ailment ID field of the child table. Now label the option group ailments. Okay, let's create that. Now to do that, we want to go to our form design view. Now because it's radio button that it says we should create, you might be tempted to think this is the button you would select, radio button, but this is actually what we are going to be using to create a radio button. It can be used to create radio buttons, check boxes, and also this kind of tabs where you select an option from different options. They are all grouped together, but you pick one from an option. Remember, if it's for a drop down, this is we use the combo box. But for now, because we want radio button, so we are selecting this. Sorry, before I select that, I want to open this up so that I could draw it beside it. So I select this here and I'm going to draw this here. Okay, now, although in some situations you find out this doesn't pop up, normally this is supposed to pop up. If it doesn't pop up in yours, let me delete this, then likely this is what you didn't select, use this control wizard. That's why let me show you. If I click it now, it's not going to show anything. So if you have such a situation, you just want to go back and make sure you select use control wizard before you draw it again. Delete and then you draw again. Okay, and this pops up. Right now the first, allow me to zoom in a little bit. Now it says the label names for the various items you want. So let me pick on this. Let's take asthma first. Apologies for the zoom in and zoom out. The next one is diabetes, so we have that there. We have eczema, copy, and I just paste that there. Epilepsy, paste that there. And we have none. Copy and paste that there. Alright, we go on. Now the next thing says, do you want a default value? Sorry, is a default value. Now let's zoom in. So do you want the options table to be a default? No, I don't want this to be. So the question didn't say anything about a default value. So I rather leave it as no, I don't want a default value. I don't want anyone selected. But if the question actually told you that one of these options should be a default value, this is where you set that option. So let's leave it as no, I don't want a default value. You click to next. Now you can see these values now. Remember that when it says you should create the field with the appropriate data type. This is the reason why it was said about the data type. Because it's going to be a numeric value that is going to be tied to each of these options. Now by default, the access has given you 1 to 5. You could actually change these values at will if you want to. If you want to change this to say 9, that, but to make it easier, since it's all starting from 1, it's better to just stick with 1, 2, 3. It's easy to know this is 1, this is 2, 3, 4, that way. So, and it's a numeric value that will be inserted. So we click on next, and the next one says, where is this value going to be added into? And if you remember, it says it should be added into the allergy ID, which was created. So we want to select the field, ailment ID, not the allergy. Okay, the ailment ID, that's where it's going to be dropping the result of this selection. Then we click on next. Now here is where we're going to select, do we want the radio buttons, do we want check boxes, or do we want toggle buttons? So any of these 3 can be created with this options group, but the question says we should use radio buttons. So this is what radio buttons looks like, and I like something like this. Just like it looks nicer. So then we click next. Then what do you want to call it? I might call it the ailment, which let's go back to the question. It says we should call this ailment. I like to call that ailments, and then I'll finish. Okay, so now if we are done with that, let's check the question back. It says make sure that the radio buttons are grouped as one option group with the label ailments. So we have it's one option group, but the label is not properly. So we want to click out and pick the label. Sorry, click the gray button for the label and move it. Oh boy. Okay, just pick that gray button, then you can move that, and for this, you can bring this down. Okay, so I think it looks nice that way. Ailments, or better still, we could have it in front of it. Let me click the whole group and in front of it that way. Sorry, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to move the whole this way. Okay, excuse me for moving it that way. So I guess I'll just leave it there. Then go pick the ailment alone and bring it down here. Yes, so now we have ailment and we have the options here. So now it's a group. Then we have the options selected. So yes, it's stored in the ailment ID. If we take a look at the property sheet, yes, it's stored in the ailment ID. It shows the source, okay, where it's control source, and the of the child step. Then lastly, all labels in the form are aligned to the left consistently and do not overlap other data in the form. So you can see these are the labels. Maybe we just want to make this properly arranged. Yes, they are aligned to the left and none of it is overlapping. Okay, so let's move on. I think I like that design. Now it says place in your evidence document screenshots. Now take notes, more than one. What do they want us to speak about here? Showing first the radio buttons grouped as one group with the label ailment. Secondly, the evidence of your method of linking this group to the ailment ID field. I think with this too, if I bring this a bit closer, yes, this would show. Let's change it to the layout view. Okay, now this can show the ailment ID, and we can see this working as a group. So I want to take screenshots. Sorry, the property sheet to show this. All right, so let's take a screenshot of this. It's going to show this, and also no, sorry, I missed out something. I needed to show both the group. Okay, yes, so it's showing the options group up there. Let me drop this. I can see it's showing the options group. This is what we have here. It's operating as a group. Then we have the ailment ID where the control source is being submitted into. So that shows what we want. The evidence document as taking care of those two. Now let's move on. It says use the form modified in step 16 to add the following data as a new record in the child's table. Okay, so we want to add all of this data with this form. Let's go back and change it to the form view. Okay, now we're in the form view. We need a new form, so we're going to create this arrow with the star button to wipe out. Right, so now let's begin to pick the details. When you are doing this in the exam, you would actually be typing. So I request that you kindly ensure that it is, you check your entry and make sure you do not make any errors. Pick on female. Alright, I drop it there. Pick on the date of birth. I drop it there. There. And lastly, this is yes. So I want to highlight this and drop yes. And the selection is eczema. So I'm picking the third one. Alright. I haven't done that. So check your data entry. Place in your evidence document for errors, like I said, and check your data entry for errors. Ensure that it is accurately typed and save the data. Then place in your evidence document a screenshot of the form with the new record displayed in full. Alright, so I want to save it and take a screenshot of that form. I will take a screenshot showing the new record in full. Oh, they are not bothered about the title, so please let me take a new. I don't want the title to be visible. Okay, so let's drop that, the evidence document. Yes, so that's it, showing the new record visible selected. Now let's go back to the question. It's a long one here. Now open the child table and use the automated selection method to locate the new record you entered in step 17 with the child ID. Okay, I'll need this ID. So let's take a look at how to do that. Now we'll save this and let's open the child's table now. Okay, so now once you use the method, the automated selection method we'll be using is to filter it, actually, to use a text filter. So we come to child ID, we use the text filter and equals, because we want it to select, to directly select on that ID, and that is it. So the ID is displayed out there, just as we wanted it. Now let's just convert Lambert's. Yes, and we have 3. Remember, eczema, the allergy ID is 3, that's for eczema. Then we go back. It says, place in your evidence document screenshots showing the use of an automated selection method to find the record and the new record stored in the child table with all 11 fields displayed in full. Okay, so we have to open up what we did to get that back again. Okay, now this is the method used, and here we have this in full. You can either screenshot it separately or screenshot it together, and the one that works. I want to screenshot it together. I'm going to screenshot the 2. Okay, all the 11 fields fully visible. Stops here. Okay, and I could drop that in my evidence document. Okay, it's showing, yes, that's exactly what is needed. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Okay, yes, so it's showing the method I used, and all the 11 tables are, 11 fields rather, are visible. Okay, now let's see, is there anything else? Okay, I think that's about it. So that's how to solve this data manipulation. You can always sure that IGCSE will test you about how to use the 4 different objects of database. That's the tables, to use the forms, to use the query, and then to use the reports. In this particular year, you are not tested on using labels for your reports, but we are tested more on the forms. So please do well, like I always say. Ensure you practice. The more you practice, the more you get better at using and answering all of these questions. So if you like what you have seen, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and also click on the notification bell so that you will get informed whenever I release a video. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.